Hey everyone, welcome to Encounters USA. If it's aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, or dogmen you're looking for, you came to the right place. Now listen up as we listen to some of the latest encounters.
Trips to Shasta. They're getting protection, aren't we? I think we're getting some protection. I ask for protection every day, actually. Have you gotten missed? Yeah, we're getting protected. Yeah, which is good. Well, my friends, I'll be returning to Mount Shasta July 1st through the 8th next year, as well as from August 27th to September 3rd. And if you can come along the trip, you'll be able to meet Jason. He's an amazing fellow. Send me an email to outofthisworld1150@gmail.com, or you can call me at 59750-9793. And Jason, before we go, are there any other parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with us today?
Just continue working on yourself. I found that helped me. Mm-hmm. I cleared all that junk out of me. I feel much lighter. Mm-hmm. Feel more calm. Be able to handle the stuff that comes our way.
Oh yeah.
And just trust the divine plan.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's challenging sometimes. They're hard.
Yeah.
But we need to keep that trust.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Jason, it's been so good having you on my show, and so thank you so much for channeling our beautiful friend Adama from Telos in the Hollow Earth. Oh, I just heard a thank you from him. So
yeah, and I saw his hand on his heart.
Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. You know, the Telosians, when they greet each other, I'm told they put both hands over their heart like this. For you, those of you on YouTube, on the station, if you go to www.1150kknw.com and you click on YouTube, you can actually see me here in the studio. I'm putting both of my hands over my heart. That's how they greet each other in Telos, in the Hollow Earth. The Pleiadians, in comparison, I'm told, they'll take their right hand and put it over their... But it's the same thing. They laugh when I tell the history of how people got to be shaking hands here on planet Earth. It comes from, I think, 11th century England, where the knights would drop their swords, so they'd shake their hands so they wouldn't backstab each other in the back. So I think we're past that today. People don't walk around with swords anymore, and it's a nice way to greet people. Put both your hands over your heart and send them lots of love and light. So, but anyway, Jason, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it, and can't wait to see you next year at Mount Shasta. It should be a fascinating time.
Be amazing. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone listening today, let's all wish Jason and his beautiful family here a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's a little early, but thought we could do that now. And with a big thanks for coming on today.
Well, thanks, Ted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anyway, Jason, I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your beautiful family, and thank you so much again for sharing your wisdom with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. You have an amazing holiday as well, Ted.
Okay. Thank you, Jason, so much. Good to talk.
Thanks.
All right. That was my good friend Jason coming to us live from beautiful Vancouver, Canada, just now with messages from Adama. And he will be coming with us to Mount Shasta next year, again from July 1st to the 8th and August 27th to September 3rd. If you are interested in going, please contact me. Both trips are actually filling up pretty rapidly, and I will be putting a limit on the number of people coming. So if you are interested, please contact me as soon as possible. My next guest for this final segment is Matthew Hopkins. Matthew's a great guy. He's a paranormal researcher. I met him last weekend in Ocean Shores. He produces films and documentaries on Sasquatch, UFOs, and paranormal events. His website is www.encountersusa.com. He has a twice weekly YouTube channel and is a published author on UFOs and extraterrestrials. Matthew, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thanks a lot for having me on Out of This World Radio.
Oh, my pleasure, Matt. My pleasure. I have forgotten we were going to have you on Skype. My apologies. I gave your number to my producer, Eric. He was going to call you. But anyway, it's coming in pretty crystal clear with Skype, so I'm happy about that. Matthew, I want to ask you, how I always like to ask this question: how did you start on this spiritual journey or your own quest to do paranormal research? I mean, some people become doctors, some lawyers, some engineers, some work in all different kinds of occupations. How did you start on this particular path of life?
Well, and just I'll point out professionally, I am a teacher. I'm a certified teacher in Washington State. And my interest in the paranormal, I guess, started out from, my religion. And when I was younger, I was just taught that, there are a lot of things that we know, but there are a lot of things that we don't know. And the world is full of mystery, and we just don't know what everything is, and we don't know exactly what happened in the past, et cetera, et cetera. And when you get into, I guess the catalyst at one point was, I was a young man, I was in the army, and I read, The Chariots of the Gods, by von Däniken.
Oh yeah, right.
And then that just, okay, that's it. That really makes sense. Because when you get, and you talk about, I've got a book about, this whole topic, but when you start talking about religion and things in the past, there's always the issue of vocabulary. So with that disconnect, vocabulary changes every generation. And so when you're talking about going back 200 or 300 years and then trying to say that you really understand what the meaning of a certain type of word is, especially when you're dealing with a technology that somebody doesn't understand, then that really leaves it open. And at some point in time, you can't take everything literally. So there's more out there, and I haven't had any personal what I would call encounters with Bigfoot or aliens, whatever. But it's just that the fact that so much evidence is out there, and just because it's so obvious what the answers to these things are, it's really a no-brainer. And so I've just been interested in it ever since I was a kid, and I just have the unique, I guess, kind of sometimes bothersome ability to take seemingly disconnected facts and tidbits of information and then remember them and put them together into some, greater context. And so we'll go ahead. I'm sure you want to ask another question, and then I think you want to ask me how I got into this particular field. But go ahead and ask your next question, Ted.
Oh, yeah, Matt. Anyway, it's so good to have you on today. It's fun talking to you, Matt. Listen, I wanted to share something with you. If you like Eric von Däniken, Chariots of the Gods, I think he talks about the Nazca lines in that book. I'm trying to remember, or he's talked about it in other research. I'm going to the Nazca lines in January, end of January, and also again in May. And I'd love to have you come along with us if you like. It'd be fun. It's not that expensive.
That's way out of our price range. We're just we're not nowhere near that, but not now, not at this point. But
okay.
That's one of the reasons I have, because I really regret the fact we've got 30 minutes to talk here, because if you're going down there, then that brings up. I talk about in my book, which is called "Deceptions of the Ages," quote Mormons, unquote. Freemasons and extraterrestrials. I talk about the civilization, and I talk about Latter-day Saint beliefs. And I talk about how in Peru, according to some scholars, a civilization basically showed up about 3000 BC, thrived, and then killed itself off. and it's right in a place called Corral, Peru. So when you're talking about the Nazca lines and nobody who knows what was going on down there, but one thing that was going on down there is there was some interaction with some aliens and these big-headed red-haired giant people or whatever they were that L.A. Marzulli and Brian Forster are down there working with.
Right, exactly. Well, it's not that expensive to go down. They had a seat sale a few months ago for only $216 US dollars from Vancouver, Canada, all the way down to Lima, Peru.
Wow.
And then once you get down there, the hotels that we stay at, they're nice hotels, and some include meals. They run between about $7 to $10 to $27 a night, maybe a little bit more. I mean, you look at if you spend time down there and then in Peru, and then you come back to the States, and they're charging a lot of money for hotels, you kind of miss being down there because.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been to Nepal, so.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk it over with my wife, and you have no idea. Just because of I have a degree in history from Washington State University, who I will mention. I left the game because we were losing, and I feel bad we're losing another Apple Cup. But anyway, go Cougs.
Oh well. Yeah.
But I have a degree in history, and I just love South American history, and I have a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of information in my book about those cultures that live down there. So
I'll get a copy of your book, and I'll just have you on again so we can talk more time. It's no worries.
Okay. Well, I think you'll be very interested in some of the connections, and then the work that they're doing now with the Polynesian culture. Is very interesting in their connections to South America. So who knows what was going on? And then that goes into what you're talking about with your Lemuria, because, maybe this could be a remnant of that long-lost civilization. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. There was even one story I read about last year where there was a Japanese explorer in the 14th or 15th century that made it. He made his way all the way over to the other side, to Peru, got stranded, ended up intermarrying with the locals there, and then they did DNA tests, and they were able to prove that the DNA of some of the people in that area along this coastal part of Peru actually came from Japan, which was pretty amazing, I think. So
yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, and when you're talking about Mount Shasta, did you happen to check out my video? I'm sure you don't have time, but
I think I did listen to part of it. I could pull it up now.
I just wanted to mention that a couple of things, and one was that we were in the shop on that video. There's the name of the shop on it, and I can't remember what it is right now, but it's purple on the sign, and there's a beautiful lady working in there. And she told us, she showed us these, or not really us, she took me aside and she showed me these pictures of these South American shaman were here and they were doing their thing. And these people took pictures of them. And in the picture, there's these like square-headed things, people,
Oh, you're really?
And those are the Lemurians. Yeah, that's in that video. The picture is.
Okay,
and,
I missed that. Yeah.
And if you go... I'm sorry. If you go to her shop and you are nice to her, I'm sure she will also show you those. But it's pretty fascinating.
Oh, how interesting!
Yep.
Wow, that's incredible. I did see some fascinating things about and pictures as well about Sasquatch that you made near Snoqualmie Falls, Washington. Tell me a little bit about it. You have a photo of mystery. What's the dark figure across the water? It looks like a Sasquatch.
Yeah, that was just one of the things I do investigations. And okay, I think that I should explain a little bit more about what I'm doing here. I do a podcast and a YouTube channel, and what I do is I do like interview people, and people interview me like you're doing. And I also do investigations, and I go out with people who investigate UFOs, like I go out with the UFO I team. I'm going to start going out with the Olympic Project on their investigation. So like I do everything. Like I do like podcasts, but I'm also out in the field doing research with people and letting them get their research publicized. So
nice.
that's where I'm doing. And I'm okay. I love camping and I'm, okay in the woods. I've been in the woods all my life. So, it's just kind of natural for me and it's fun too. So, and just the interest in UFOs and Bigfoot. We did some great research last, summer down at the Isetti Ranch, which have you been down to that?
Oh yeah. I've been there several times.
Okay.
Fascinating place. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Tell us about your experience at Isetti. That's a great place.
Oh, it was fascinating. I went down there to interview Michael Hall, the paranormal lawyer.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I met him and the team, and they decided after some debate that they would allow me to, kind of be a member. But it was fun, and I got to interview Mike because he was getting ready to go down to the Storm Area 51 thing. So... So that was fun, and we talked about the UFO I-team and whether disclosure is on the way. So it was fascinating. And then that night, the UFOs came out, and they have got so much equipment, and they have these little devices where they can tell if it's a satellite or the space lab or whatever, and so you can tell the UFOs. And we saw 5 really, really good ones. But the best one I saw was we were camping the next night outside of Mount Adams. And we saw something that looked like a diamond necklace just drop down from behind the mountain. And it was so amazing because it just kind of floated there. And I'm ex-military, and I was telling somebody at the Sasquatch Summit, and he says, "Oh, those were probably flares from Yakima, the firing range." Really? Well, they don't fire flares during the day. And
Right.
and I would have known flares. I've been around for 4 years when I was in the Army, so I know those weren't flares. It looked like a chandelier almost, and it was so beautiful, and it just sat right down behind the mountain, and this campground was full of people that were watching it, so it was pretty amazing.
I know that when I was there a couple of years ago, we actually got visited by a group of Pleiadians, and you could actually see them shimmering in the higher dimensions around us, and they gave us a healing. But it's an amazing place. He said it's a great place. Yeah, it's a fun place. There was a lady, I remember talking to this lady. No, we were in a group of people walking back to the campground at Isetti, and we could see, it's a true story, Matt, we could see the grass going down in front of us as the Sasquatch, who was in a different dimension, probably the 5th dimension, was actually walking right ahead of us, and you could see the grass go down where the Sasquatch was walking. But there was nothing there in the 3rd dimension you could see, but you could see the prints of the Sasquatch pushing these grasses down as he was walking in front of us.
Yeah.
And it absolutely amazing. And then what happened is that this one lady took a picture. I don't have it. I don't think I've got that picture, but she took a picture with her cell phone of the area where she saw these grasses going down in this field, and she saw the red eyes of this. Her cell phone actually captured these red eyes looking back at her.
Wow!
From that's all. That was pretty amazing. I tell you, I might have that picture. I'd have to look for it, but she took a picture of that, and you couldn't see the red eyes visibly, except she was able to take a picture. I'll find it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
Well, I hope she doesn't Photoshop. You know how you can Photoshop that red eye out? She probably doesn't want to do that in this case.
Yeah, no.
But I heard a lot of stories. I didn't see any Bigfoot when I was down there, but I saw I heard a lot of stories about them just walking out with that prayer. I think it's a prayer circle where that is.
Right. I know where that is. Yeah.
Just walking right across there. So we're actually talking about. I'm trying to get some UFO investigators and the UFO team down there together to do some investigations. I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, well, let me know when you go. I'd love to go with you. Or
exactly. There's probably going to be a small army. But, I think that I know these guys like the UFO team, Michael, and I don't know if you know about his team, but they have all of this sophisticated gadgetry. They've got FLIR and night vision, and they can send out signals with sound, and they even make their own stuff. So,
oh wow,
they're really high tech, and and so anyway, these guys over that are researching on the Olympic Peninsula and stuff. I'd like to, get some kind of a cohort, and because with all that equipment, you could kind of seal off a mountain, a valley.
Oh, sure.
And just have equipment on both sides, and if you've got the right area, you might get something. So, but there's definitely enough people and enough equipment there to do it. So we'll see. We'll see if they want to do it. It's hard to, get all those people together, and there's a lot of egos and whatever. So, but we'll see.
This time of year, they get snow up there. So they might want to wait till the spring.
I'm talking about the summer. No, I'm not doing. Okay. I'm not going out in the. I'll go out in the cold for like a day or two, but I'm talking about like maybe 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
But and if we could get, if you have connections in the media, to get somebody to come and film it, I'm definitely going to be filming it, but somebody else might want to come along too.
Oh, absolutely. So. Yeah, I've got people I know. I could come along. That would be fun. Well, we've got about 9 minutes left, Matt, and I wanted to ask you, what other projects are you working on now? Are you planning any trips in the future other than the Olympics, as far as going out to an area and doing some research?
Right now, I am so, because I do aliens, Bigfoot, and Dogman. I'm just really, I don't have any projects coming up. I'm basically a slave to whatever is happening, you know. So whatever, if there's a news, if there's something going on in like an event coming up or something like that, I'll cover it. But generally, I just like to get my keep my guests on my podcast, and then it's winter and this is the Northwest. And in the spring and summer, then I'll go out and start doing more field stuff. So that's just generally how it does, or how it works. And I started this last April. I've only been doing this for a little over 6 months now. So it's all pretty new to me.
Oh, how fun. How fun. Tell me a little bit. Have you had any encounters with Dogman, or and what's the difference between Dogman and Sasquatch?
Well, the Dogman, I had never even heard of a Dogman, although I may have had an encounter when I was in the Army down at Fort Bragg in North Carolina, but it was just kind of a weird screaming sound, and some people, the people that do Dogman say, well, that really does sound like a Dogman, but it sounded like a woman being attacked or just screaming just a little ways off from me, and I'm sitting alone. We're out on patrol, and I'm just kind of sitting there by myself waiting for my platoon. But anyway, nothing happened. I moved off, and that was the only encounter I had. But when I started listening to this Dogman radio, or Dogman Encounters with Vic Cundiff, and how that was going on in Michigan and in Minnesota and down south, it just fascinated me. And it's not a Bigfoot. It's a big wolf. And I actually am spearheading a movement to change it from Dogman to Wolfen. Not having a lot of success, but it was the first year this year.
Interesting.
But anyway, it's a this creature that everything, and this is why I do this podcast. And in case people are wondering, why are you doing Encounters USA? Because forever, aliens people were separate from Bigfoot people, and of course, Dogman people were way out there. and they didn't want anything to do with each other. But the fact of the matter is, you have to back up and you have to look at the big picture. And when you do that, you see it's all connected. It's all got something to do with electromagnetism. It's got something to do with portals. It's got something to do with dimensions and travel in and out. And so nobody's talking. Everybody's still, well, do you believe in it? But the fact of the matter is, you have to apply the science. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, good. Good. I have heard, I wanted to share this with you, that Sasquatch actually means wild man, and the Sasquatch themselves like to be called chartreuse. That's what I've been told. I don't know if you've heard that or not, but
I heard that from you at the summit.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. So, they don't like to be thought of wild men.
So chartreuse?
Chartreuse, yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, I heard that from the Hollow Earth people, that they like to be called chartreuse. So,
Ted, so do you have some kind of insight? Do you know who they are? Because I've been asking everybody, who are they? Where are they from?
They're actually they were here before Atlantis. They're about 300,000, 400,000 years old, probably about 300,000 years old. They were an attempt by a benevolent extraterrestrial human species to jumpstart our evolution here on planet Earth. And what they decided to do is mix their genes, create a hybrid benevolent extraterrestrial. They mix the advanced human, the extraterrestrials, mix their genes with a giant ancient sloth that went extinct about 200,000 years ago. And so there's 4 distinct species from what I know of the Sasquatch. The ones who look like us, except they've got fine fur all over their body, but other than that, they are human, are called the ancient ones. And then there's 3 more species beyond that, subspecies, where they get progressively hairier. And if they have the more genes they have from this ancient sloth, the more hairier they are. They're more like this ancient sloth, but less human. But that's what I know. Progeny produced from like a pair from one of the ancient ones or any of the other 3 subspecies of Sasquatch and a human does produce viable children. And there are Native American legends of offspring produced by Indians here in Washington as well as in western Montana of this hybrid children, and kids that are the kids have extra hair on them. They have hairy chests and lots of hair around their head and everything, but in all other respects they're human. So I'll get you some more information. That's what I heard years ago. Regarding the history of the chartreuse.
Well, that's amazing, and I'd sure like to find out if I know we don't have time, but if that Melba Ketchum study had any sloth DNA in it. So.
Oh yeah. Actually, at our campsite at Mount Shasta last year, I was able to get some feces from a Sasquatch, as well as food that they'd eaten. There was Sasquatch saliva on it. So I've got that frozen. If you know of a good scientist I can send that to, I'd love to have that analyzed somewhere. So just let me know.
I would. Yeah, I've got Dr. Meldrum's email address.
Okay.
I don't know if that would be where you'd want to go with it, but
sure.
Anyway, just because you're going to be telling him, well, this is Sasquatch, and then you're basically tainting the sample by, and yeah, I don't know. I just. I think academics are not going to ever tell you what it really is, so I don't know if that would be the best place to take it, but he might be a good start to suggest someplace.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be objective.
Sure.
So.
Well, let's talk off to the air after we got it, and I'd love to have you back on again. We've got about we're running short on time. Well, listen, Matt, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I will have you on again after I read your book. And I know I'll have a lot more questions. Your website is www.encountersusa.com. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Ted, and you have a super day.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. That was Matt Heines, paranormal research. And please, everyone, please visit his website at encountersusa.com. Thank you, Matt, so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your beautiful
same
family.
to you too, Ted.
Okay, thanks, Matt, so much. We'll have you on again. And with that, I'd like to play The Fifth Dimension, Aquarius by The Fifth Dimension. That's first. We'll just end it up today's show with this. And I want to thank everyone so much for listening today, and to let you know that we do have a really beautiful and bright future ahead of us. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and happy weekend. And thank you again so much for listening and supporting Out of This World Radio. Together we can create a much better and happier world. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to tonight's show. Please remember, if you've had an encounter, we want to hear about it. Go ahead and email us at encountersusa1@gmail.com or contact us at encountersusa.com, our website, and go to the contact form. All right, everybody. Until next time, be careful out there. And if you're out in the woods, watch your back.